The story of Hagar, a name often overlooked in the pages of the Bible, resonates across cultures and faiths. Known as the mother of Ishmael and regarded as a matriarch of the Middle East, Hagar's journey speaks to resilience, faith, and God's care in the wilderness. Today, we explore Hagar's extraordinary story, a tale of trials, promises, and a new legacy that shaped the world. Hagar was an Egyptian servant to Sarai, later named Sarah, the wife of Abram, later Abraham. In their old age, despite God's promise of numerous descendants, Sarai had been unable to bear children. Frustrated and doubting the promise, she decided to take matters into her own hands and offered Hagar to Abram as a surrogate. When Hagar conceived, however, tension arose, as Hagar became aware of her new status, and Sarah felt threatened. This led to harsh treatment of Hagar by Sarah, which drove Hagar to flee into the wilderness, seeking refuge. Here, we begin to see Hagar not just as a servant, but as a woman forced to navigate her life in the margins, carrying a child under the strain of exile. In the wilderness, Hagar experienced one of the most remarkable encounters in the Bible. An angel of the Lord appeared to her by a spring and called her by name, acknowledging her situation and giving her instructions to return to Sarah and Abram. The angel reassured her that her suffering had not gone unnoticed, and that her son, Ishmael, would be the father of a great nation. This is the first recorded instance in the Bible where God speaks directly to a woman, and it signifies Hagar's unique place in God's plan. In awe, Hagar called the Lord El Roi, meaning the God who sees me. This name reflected her deep sense of being noticed and valued in her isolation. From this encounter, she gained the strength to return, carrying within her the knowledge of God's care and a promise for her child. Upon returning, Hagar bore Ishmael, Abram's first son. While Ishmael's birth was celebrated as a fulfillment of sorts, God made it clear that Ishmael would have a distinct destiny apart from the lineage of Isaac, who would later be born to Sarah. Ishmael would become the father of 12 princes, and his descendants would grow into a vast nation, a prophecy that many believe connects Ishmael to the Arab peoples, and thus to the Middle Eastern lineage. However, Ishmael's position did not grant him the same covenant relationship with God that Isaac would later receive. Instead, Ishmael's legacy was one of independence and resilience, traits that Hagar herself had displayed. As Hagar raised Ishmael, she embodied the values of survival, faith, and tenacity, qualities that would shape Ishmael's future. Years later, after Isaac's birth, tensions escalated between Sarah and Hagar once more. Sarah, protective of Isaac's inheritance, asked Abraham to send Hagar and Ishmael away. Heartbroken yet obedient, Abraham provided them with provisions and sent them into the wilderness. This moment marked a significant hardship for Hagar, now a single mother, exiled with a teenage son. As they wandered, their supplies ran out, and Hagar reached a breaking point. She left Ishmael under a bush and, unable to watch him suffer, sat a distance away, weeping. But once again, God intervened. An angel called to Hagar from heaven, reassuring her and promising that Ishmael would indeed become a great nation. God then revealed a well of water nearby, sustaining them both in the desert. Hagar's trust in God's provision deepened here, marking her as a woman of faith and perseverance despite her trials. Through Ishmael, Hagar is considered the matriarch of many Middle Eastern tribes. Ishmael grew up in the wilderness, becoming a skilled archer and later marrying an Egyptian woman. The descendants of Ishmael would spread throughout the region, forming a coalition of tribes that would influence the region for centuries. Hagar's legacy lives on as a symbol of resilience and as a mother of nations, respected across cultures and faith traditions. Hagar's story illustrates God's attention to those who may feel unseen and forgotten. She began as a servant, but ended as a woman who changed history. Her journey shows that even in exile, God sees, cares, and provides.
For more Bible content, remember to subscribe, like and turn on your notification bell.